Okay guys, this chapter is about the programming for the network devices. So we have 6 parts over here talking about first CLI, the pros and cons of it. Why is CLI mentioned here? What is the next generation? So the next generation is the application is called API, which is just another way of saying programming. And then the structure, the standard protocols we need to follow while we are programming. Then we have the DevNet, which is the testing lab where we can test our stuff. The GitHub, where we can find our nodes or the main stuff, resources for the networking or any there's automation stuff. And Python scripts, how it interacts with the requesting of the data. Like I wanna read how many interfaces are there or IPs. If you guys know, it's called show IP interface brief. So Python can interact with that one command, show IP interface brief, which comes under the get command. Post command is post and put command is like pushing the configuration, which is change host name to this, add IP to this interfaces, and then we have the delete. So this is what we are going to see throughout this chapter. Now, what are the pros of the CLI? We got, we have the documentation. It's more controlled, but we can do a lot of mistake with the numbering and with the naming. So this is why we move to the API. Now API have we have this thing. Now we have a controller, which is your PC. And in your PC, you want to watch your routers and switches. So your router and switches, you want to see their health check. What are their, who is logging into them. And you want to you want to see it through your PC, right? Now, watching through your PC is called northbound API. And this is called southbound API, where we will push the configuration to this routers. We will push the configurations through dashboard, which is control layer. I mean, from the server, we will receive since server holds everything, sends the information to the server. Like, it's called storage basically. Now we are learning about, in this part, we are learning about uh, okay, let me say it on my own. So northbound and REST APIs, this is the get, put, push. So basically how we the HTTP programming, if you guys know the HTML programming and the HTML, is it the HTML? Is it HTTP, the website? And how the HTTP, we refer from the HTTP programming to the networking. So first we do that. Uh, then we go to the Postman. Now Postman talks about the testing for doing show IP interface. Does it work or not? So it's like the tutorial, the trial for the actual work. Then we have the data formats, like what are the standard way of writing the codes. Then we have the two example. We have the two example. We have the two example of pushing and sending. We have, this is like, there are two devices. First, the Cisco DNA, who will use the GUI. This is how it looks like. So it uses, this is the GUI. So that part was explaining Cisco DNA has all the devices connected to the server, and this device is receiving all the information of your router and your switches. Are they wired or they're wireless? And how you can change, push your configuration. So SD-WAN is one of them, SD-WAN and Cisco DNA. So let's go to the northbound and southbound. This is what it's look like. We need the controller, which is your PC, to change your router or switches, or look at it. Then this is the reference they use. This is the HTTP functions. Okay, so put is like replaces, and post is like adding a new data. Now they use for the networking, we use this part. They made it into a CRUD: create, read, update, and delete. In here it says consistent way for APIs from multiple vendors. It not only mean Cisco, it also means Huawei and Juniper. So Postman is like the trial part. This is how it looks like. You use the get type, how you're gonna interact with it. It helps you write some API like without writing full code. So earlier we talked about the Python script, right? So before that we see how the results should look like. And this is how is it look. This is the mock, and this is the meaning. This is the how the program looks like. So API use authentication. Nothing special. It only talks about what's inside Postman. History shows API calls, your collection, your tabs. So that's all for the API. URL bar. It has. This is all it has to do with the API. Then data formats. What data common are that are used extensively. Now they talk about how they are used. Not anything special yet. So Postman, did we look at the? Okay, we have the HTTP code. When we go inside the HTTP, when we go inside the website, we finally find most common. Hey, for your site is not found, or your data, you're logging into an unauthorized device or website. So these are the API call. It's called API calls. It means the result response for your request. So okay is like created. Good stuff. Now DNA, it's talking about the DNA, how each steps work. Still, it's talking about the DNA, how each step work. You can post the video to watch whenever is there a part for DNA, also you can just post it. And I think this will be a little bit helpful for it. Now this is what it looks like. I added this part in here. What does it all do? So I copied this part and checked. Okay, no error report. Post the video if you want to see. I'm gonna go through a little bit quick. Category, it's a router, no location, no error code. Device MAC address, for wireless not used here. When the device last booted, all the information. The IP address. So this is more like an example of the Postman. No reachability issues. DNS center can ping with SSH. Router's name. Okay. You will find this in the serial number, by the way, of the router. Serial number of the router. No assign location. You can add the Google Map in here. Device is running. Inventory. This is is it part of the Cisco or no? So it checks that serial number. DNA is automatically assigned. Operating, it attaches itself to the GUI, human readable. No choose for SDN, WLC, tunnel port, CD. Oh, this is the serial number part. Sorry. So ASR, how is it doing? Version, inventory card, line card. This means the Ethernet port, by the way. How is it? And this is what I found out. Post a video, make it rest, a little bit zoom up, collection ID of the line card, which is Ethernet ports. Okay, this is the question I had. A line card, what is it about, and what is an inventory check? Okay, and then we have the vManage. So first we did the Cisco DNA. Now we have the vManage, which is the SD-WAN GUI, which is graphical user interface. where we can check the dashboard, healthcare, and all. So this is one thing. Now we're going to the data models. Next, this section provides the most data models. Now we are over here. So data models, they are like that describes how the Cisco devices structure data. It's like the blueprint data, what can be configured, what data exists, what types there are. So Yang data models are like they represent. Uh, so we need to keep it uniform between all the vendors like Huawei and other devices. So this is the example they're using, which is not kind of that explains that much. And then net configuration, SNMP, OID. And now SNMP is like you we memory monitoring, CPU, SM management. Okay, is another visitor collecting the status, taking administrative. So still nothing new. Operation, get configured, request some of the creation, edit configuration. We can edit some of the configuration. Talk back to the management. This dotted line back to the. So it only talks about how we can talk with our switches, routers, back with the server, and we can make some of the changes in the data. So this is how it looks like. Or let me get. I will take a big screen so you guys can take a screenshot of this. This data is just structured in XML format rather than what users are. It is a easy to refer. Okay. Now both are. It's just talking about can validate apply. Now it's just talking about. It was talking about the new generation, and all. Now we're going at the Cisco DevNet. Are looking to increase nothing new. You just add some of the stuff. They allow you to take, okay, not so special. GitHub, still, still, basic Python script. Now, okay, now we came to the part where how Python is gonna be used in this Cisco DNA. I mean, in the networking programmability part. So, so this figure, it talks about three parts where which DNS center environment are we gonna be using? Sandbox, Express, or custom? We have the custom, we have the Express, and we have the sandbox. We have the customs, Express, and sandbox. So what do they each mean? Okay. This is what the sandbox mean. It means it's a free online lab. Then we have an event part to practice some automation, and then we have the custom where we have our own DNA. So we log in using that. So right now we're not gonna be learning anything in here. I didn't say anything about we are using any Python, but just interpreting. You can see the key value DNA, the structure used to hold all the key, but DNS. So a dictionary called DNS. So okay. So we have the DNA dictionary explained. This dictionary contains the DNS center IP, center IP. Let me check what does. The address you used to connect the. Okay. So our branches. The DNA by script, the first section of the pair, think of a collection of all, shows the first section of the get DNA. This is how explain the devices, import URL. So it's just teaching us how to enter. Guys, let me know if you can understand this part. So we have there calls to E important tool, so Python can do the HTTP, get post request. Okay. If a developer try to do it without having a request may import it, it would be difficult for Python. So how to interpret it? There shows the second. Okay. What does this part mean? Mm, actually, the whole thing. I need the whole thing. The hostname platform ID. It shows this. Create when it will look hostname. SSL warning. Disable. Hide the SSL certificate. Cisco self return. That we are using and we're good. Okay. Formats. Nice. So this is what it means. Functions are also that. Okay. We have the same exact problem. Mm-hmm. So after we get the get a network device part, printing the device. X function small piece of the job. DNA SCP. This function does not. You must be authenticated. More that does explain the function. So it does this. Why do you okay? Why do we need in order to execute any? You must be authenticated using the token. What are function? Function small for does the login get device? Functions are very stored that can often be although some functions are built in you do not have the print functions which can be you have it only talks about the print function to say you must be authenticated using the token IP with the Python recall what you saw this in order before you can use any once I get so we can so define a function name it will receive username DNA login build the token so we will get the token send an HTTP username to the URL basic authentication. What this whole part do? Call put the get token put data user user to call the and get a token. Okay, nice. So this go shows where the line there is mapping the just use this. Now that you gotta use it to call the network and get the list of all the ties with the first URL and then put the token in it. So you know this is a go for URL now we are calling get HTTP. Now we can use it for this header X token add token so network so our device is connected. This is already has a Okay. What is happening? Your Python can connect to the has its inventory. Give me the list. So it's just practicing. My only one color. So it's we are just only okay. So we are just practicing over here. Get issues. So hence get data. What is the this is the final. It shows how everything I log in DNA. And that is called okay. I use the token to enter meaning super short time login get a using. So we are done with this chapter. Thank you guys. Now I'm just gonna see what happened from there. Choose the environment. We will connect to the Cisco. Build the login info dictionary. Okay. Here's all the information needed to login. Create a pretty table for output. Descriptor will show our data nicely. When does this how when does this shows? Number 3, create a disable SSL hard annoying. Prepare HTTP headers. We will send design token will be added later. Send post to the API data. Login and get token. DNA. Look to and add. So final load pick environment get token. Add calls to the HTTP headers. What does doing what when there's a period print DNA devices. You can network. I think I create an hello when you add the token here's my I'm here. Let's go. So this is how I understood. Not really. So let me down if anyone of you guys understood. Guys, summarize it. But this is how far I got in. Thank you so much for watching me. So one last piece. I checked. What are the codes? So first we get the token. Then after we add the token to the headers, we call the network to the device. We call the network device. We call the APIs of the network devices. Then we finally run it down. So that's all, and thank you for watching. Good night.